Welcome to Fireside Chats with Mats. This is actually going to be continuing on from the previous episode, as few assumptions or whatever it's called. Um, and expanding on the idea of like truthers basically starting to be somewhat, if not nihilistic or solipsistic, somewhat like radical rejectionists. It seems to me like it sort of goes past the sail or goes past the solid ground where the truth is and says, well, because there's so much deception, or because we can unravel so much deception with so many things, that means nothing is true. Like literally, like that means that we are that there is nothing that we can verify as like true. It's just all, ultimately it's like all relative, or it's all unreal and like shifting, and like there is nothing that you could arrive at as like, well, this is the way that this is, or this is the way that that is. It's always just going to change underneath you. And I think that may be either unintentional, and it may not be in either sense this, but I think that may be either unintentionally or intentionally, in some kind of controlled opposition way, false. And it really may be that whether it's controlled opposition getting truthers to be less honest, or to essentially move away from being a real truther or someone really invested in the truth, or it may be someone who has become jaded in some sense, and whereas they had followed truth for a while, ultimately what they had followed had led them to turning away from truth. And it's, as Mark Passio points out with the Soren Kierkegaard quote, it's like, you could be mistaken by believing something that's not true, or by refusing to accept what is. And so, or maybe like rejecting what is in more of an active way. What is what is, but like sort of resisting what is, perhaps. And it seems like it might be resisting what is to just say, well, nothing's true, and like it's all BS, and the moon landing is not real, but even beyond that, like there is no real thing that happened. It's just like it sort of turns into a case of like Nothing Ever Happened by David Godman, the apparently like multi-volume biography of like an Indian spiritual teacher, Papaji, I think it was. Maybe it is ultimately something like nothing ever happened and all structures are unstable and whatever, but it seems to me like, to make as few assumptions as possible, it might be more likely that indeed it just is a lot of deception going on, and indeed there are just like a lot of false flags and hoaxes, and a lot of false narratives and sets of information about the things that we're told about, but that doesn't mean that there is no truth that we could come to about these things. So